Welcome to Projects for All. My name is Mike, and today we've got Evolution's EvoMag42 Magdrill. It looks awesome, but looks mean nothing in the world of tools. So let's see what comes in the box, and we'll cut a ton of metal and see if it's any good. 1200 watts max cutter, 42 millimeters, hence the name, which is 1 inch and 5/8, 2-inch cutting depth, 3/4 shank, and you get a 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter twist normal regular drill bit. 2,860 pounds of magnetic force. That's a lot of magnetic force. So what comes in the box? A blow molded case. Got our oiling system. Up here we have handles. Nice spot to keep all the handles. Threaded, obviously. Safety guard. Owner's manual, of course. Accessories, but let's get all this stuff out of here. We'll check that out. And it comes with the safety strap. So if you lose power, it doesn't fall and kill you. Of course, our Magdrill. This thing's got some weight to it. Let's get this case out of here and we can have a better look. So you get 4 Allen keys, 2.5, 3, 4, and 5 millimeters. Get a standard drill chuck, an adapter for using this standard drill chuck. No name on it. It does have what looks like a company symbol that I do not recognize. So if you know where that is from or what it is or what company, you let me know. 1/2 inch drill chuck, not bad, nice and smooth. And then we have very small parts, a couple wing nuts with some little tiny lock washers, and a brass adapter for your oiling system to connect your oiling tank to your drill. So you get 3 handles, plastic on the ends, molded, but they're heavy because probably the metal goes all the way through them, I would imagine. Screws on nice and easy, tightens down nice and easy, and it's tight. Just takes a few seconds. So let's walk around this thing like we always do. You have a scale in millimeters right on the side here. So 0 to 220 millimeters, there's a little red pointer on the side here. It's just a little piece of stamped metal that's riveted, and you can tell your depth as you make your cut. So obviously we have our arms for raising and lowering, and it stays in whatever height I put it in without falling or dropping down. It is nice and smooth, but it's not too loose. We have our power switch for our drill head, but that will only work if we have our magnet connected on metal and turned on. You have a fuse right here, 15 amp fuse, standard grounded power cord. We also have our power lead that runs from our base up to our drill head. This lever here is reverse thread, so you turn it to the right to loosen it. It sits on this dovetail right here, this dovetail mount. And you can put it at any height you would like by loosening this about 1/2 a turn up and down. This little threaded hole here is where your oil goes in. So you have your adapter for your oil system. It's got little teeth in there. I don't know if I can show it to you. Not enough light, but trust me, there's little teeth in there. It's like a shark bite fitting for plumbing, and it just presses on there. And now it's on. To release it, press down. Comes right off of there. This just threads right in there. So your bottle sits on this and the hose goes in there. Very simple stuff. Don't need any tools to attach your bottle. Press your hose in like so, and there you go. And adjust your oil flow with the lever. That's it. Here's what the bottom side of the magnet looks like. Don't really have much to say on that, but there it is. There's a label here. This machine is fitted with the latest anti-stall technology. Basically what it means is if you stall out your drill head, the magnet stays magnetized. So that would really be a motivator not to stall it out if the magnet shut off when that happened. It says to wait 3 to 5 seconds before restarting your drill if it stalls. This plastic thing here is just a cover. I took the snap ring out of there. It was in here holding this on. And this just comes off. You got to turn your grub screws in. And it's basically just a plastic cover. Gives you something to grab onto if you have to turn this probably without getting your hand too close to the cutter, which is nice, I suppose. There's a little locator pin. Yeah, there's a little locator pin there. Fits in that little hole right there and fits inside there. That's how this stays clocked correctly to these grub screws, which is how you install a bit. We turn these out enough to where we can get something in there. Now, obviously we wouldn't take this off normally, but so you can have a better look and we can actually see what we're doing. Here is a Weldon shank 3/4 inch adapter. This is 1/2 inch 20 threaded and it's made to fit in this chuck. It is a common thread pitch and size for these chucks. I think I have this little symbol figured out. I think this is a Peacock brand chuck, which is, from the best I can tell, more common to, say, like the Indian market or maybe China than the US. So not something I'm familiar with, but it doesn't seem like a bad little chuck actually. And this thread pitch is very common. You can get a Jacobs in the very similar style to this. I would almost say this is kind of a clone of that. And they're about 30 bucks, or you can get a heavy duty Jacobs threaded for about 150 that'll probably last you and then your children for the rest of their lives. So very simple. This goes in and we tighten down our grub screws. We'll do one side first, kind of give it a wiggle so we know we're on that flat spot there. And we got it lined up, and then tighten the other one, and then I'll go back and tighten the first one again. Here is the set of cutters that Evolution sent down along with this drill. They sent this for free for us to check out also. This is 3/4 drive, Weldon shank, 9/16 through 1 inch. These are the 1 inch depth cutters. You can get them in 2 inches also, and this set runs about 195 bucks on Evolution's website. So this is the most economical set of bits you can get. And if you do some Googling and look at these annular cutters, they are crazy expensive. Comes in this nice little case, little latches. And they all have their own individual pins. Grab one out of here. These things are sharp. I recommend you use gloves when you're handling these. You can see they have different cuts in the teeth. Every tooth is a little different. Some very nice machining on these. These pins come out. These are spring loaded inside here. There's a spring that pushes on this. So as you do a cut, it pulls back, plugs your oiling system when it's all the way down. As it comes up, you get a gap there. When you're done with your cut and you pull this away, this is spring loaded and should push the slug out of there. So unlike, because there's no holes in this, like a hole saw has holes so you can pry the slug out of it, this should be able to push it back out on its own. We're gonna see that. Some seriously beautiful looking cutters. These install exactly the same way as the adapter for regular drill bits. There's your spring loaded pin. One more thing to look at and we're cutting. There's only one adjustment to this that I can tell. You have a bolt here and a screw on this side. There's actually 3 pairs. There's a pair down here, and then there's another pair here, grub screw and bolt. Loosening, as best I can tell, the instructions aren't crazy clear, but loosening these 3 inner bolts will loosen this side of that dovetail mount. And then these can be adjusted just a little bit to pull this rail in and out to make sure this is tight. So I prefer not to screw with it on this one because I have no lateral, no side-to-side movement on this drill head. It is tight as a drum. My head does not fall down. It stays exactly where I put it when I adjust it, which is one of the other reasons you would want to adjust this. If your head falls because it's too loose, or if you have lateral movement in this side to side, this is your adjustment for it, these screws here. I'm gonna opt to leave it alone because mine's perfect out of the box. Last but not least, we got our safety guard. You got 2 threaded holes here in the base and 2 holes in this, but they only give you 2 wing nuts. Put those little lock washers on there and they just go in the top holes here. That's how the picture shows. There's our guard installed. There's a little latch here that allows you to swing it away. Latch just fits on that pin there. Pretty solid. Voila. It's a cool little demonstration. Here's this little chunk of I-beam and this 1/4-inch plate sitting on top of it. This plate has some twist in it. It is not flat. And see what the magnet does with the twist in that plate. Here's with our magnet on. And it sucks it on down. It's crazy. The more twist in that. Put that much cutting fluid in there. And let's hang it. I have not used the oiling system on this yet, so let's give it a little help there. There we go. Oh yeah, it's just pouring right out of there. Well, it'll definitely flow through this regular drill chuck. All right, let's do some drilling. We got a 1/4-inch drill bit in there, and I'm gonna drill right through that 1/4-inch plate. So we'll see just how loud. The microphone is about 20 inches from where we're drilling. Turn our magnet on, turn our drill on. I think my regulating the amount of oil coming through this in real life is probably a little better than what you're gonna see in this, but trying to pay attention to the camera and what's going on here, and all I'm doing is making a giant mess. But that is one very clean hole. Can't ask for much more than that. I swapped out for a 3/8 bit. Let's send it through the same hole. Effortless. And clean as can be. Can't beat that right there. That is clean. Let's try the 9/16 smallest cutter head first. I think we ran out of oil there towards the end. Here's a slug. Ejected the slug right like it's supposed to. Sure, that's hot as hell. These cutters are excellent. Beautiful. Time will tell how durable and how long they last, but I really like the cutters. As far as the oiling system on this, I'm not convinced I love that yet. As soon as I pulled this out, it dumped cutting fluid and it's still dripping. Yeah, I don't know. User error is definitely possible, but I just can't seem to get this to properly dispense the amount of cutting fluid I want in any kind of a regulated flow. 1-inch bit, 1/4-inch steel. Turn our oil on. Pretty wild with the magnet on, how it pulls all those chips. There's our slug. So we had some smoke at the end there. We're getting some heat, and I think we're not getting enough oil. I'm sure you can't see this. There is a ring of oil that got flung all the way around. All right, so we're drilling a couple plates so we can hang them upside down so we can see how good that magnet is. I'm gonna show you one of these on this 1-incher, and then we're gonna hang these upside down and we'll see how this magnet works. I'm gonna countersink it first and then we'll switch bits. Honestly, this thing drills like a champion. Yeah, it's perfect. That is the 1-inch plate. It's all degreased and flapper disked, and it's hanging from this frame that I built. Please do not zoom in on the frame. It is probably the worst thing I've ever made on this channel. But it's just a frame to hold that, so we should be fine. I've been looking forward to this part for the entire video. So let's stick it to the bottom of this 1-inch big old plate, and let's see if it sticks. You got the switch right there. We'll just stick it on, hit the switch. Voila, stuck. It came with the safety strap. I read in the comments that a lot of people say this isn't that great, and it is not super high quality professional, but I tried it out once already, and it does what it needs to do. I don't think it's in for the long haul, but, you know, whatever. How hard is it to get a ratchet strap? There we go. I'm going to leave it a little loose just so you know that the magnet is holding it and not that strap. So I've been goofing off for 10 minutes or so in here, and it's still hanging from there. We got 2 products to try out. Brute Lube, lubri-cut. I know there's a joke in there somewhere, but this is like a wax-based, looks like chapstick basically. And we're gonna use that on this because obviously the fluid system, it's not gonna work. So I have never used either of these products because hanging things upside down or drilling upside down in 1-inch plate steel is not a daily occurrence around here. So you guys tell me, have you used this stuff? Which one do you prefer, or is there a better one out there? Let me know in the comments. Let's apply this stuff directly to the cutter. Nice and goopy. Let's see what happens. Getting a fair amount of smoke right off the bat. I'm just gonna put some of this right on the workpiece too, just to be safe. I think we're fairly lubricated. We're not getting little chunks. That's a good sign that the lubrication's working. This is a very impressive mess I've made. There's our 1-inch plug, and there's our 1-inch hole through a 1-inch plate. Beautiful. Clean on the backside. Not bad. Remember, this only needs 3/8 to stick. Here's 1/2 inch. Stuck. All right, lubri-cut on this one. Oh yeah, just fell right out of there. Huh. Okay, well, I don't know, maybe this is an old one. This is very crumbly. This one's a little too solid. The other one was like chapstick. All right, let's fire this thing up and see what it does. 1-inch through 1/2 inch. Just for fun, I pushed straight through on this one. It didn't seem to have much problem. There goes our slug. I like the consistency of the other product better, but this one worked just fine. Straps off, and I'm gonna take this down off this 1/2-inch plate to show it to you, but one note. I'm gonna flip it now. It's flipped. I'm not holding it. It's holding itself still. It takes a little bit of effort to pry it off once you disconnect your magnet. I can turn it back on, it's good. I turn it off, and it's still hanging there. Once you break that seal, now, no more magnet. But I didn't try unplugging it. I don't know what that would do. But it seems if you hit the wrong switch for a second, that it's gonna continue to hang there and it'll save you from yourself. Because I almost hit the wrong switch a couple times. Thankfully, paying attention, didn't do it. Beautiful cut, but I didn't go all the way through. I assumed because the slug came out that I was through, but nope. I had another 1/2 millimeter or so to go. Still though, that's not the drill's fault. That would be straight up user error. Still went through this like butter. So how did we end up? 1-inch hole through 1-inch steel while hanging upside down. Not bad. I did slow the motor down a little bit. I don't know in the editing if you're really going to get to see that because I was doing that for a long time. I took my sweet time, and that cut, that whole scene took me about 6 minutes to make this hole here, but it did a beautiful job. I don't really have anything bad to say about this. The oiling system was what I expected could be my complaint, and maybe a little. I'm gonna say a good amount of that is user error. A good amount. The more you use this, the more you'll understand where to set the flow lever to get the amount of oil you want. Now, in a shop situation, you're drilling holes, you're on the clock, you didn't pay for the cutting fluid, you would probably go a lot more open on that lever and you just dump oil and save your bits. And that's probably how that would go, I'm sure. But here in my little home shop, where I'm getting too much oil and it's flinging it around on me all over the place, on the floor. So I'm trying to regulate it probably more than I should and, you know, saving cutting fluid because I have to order that stuff and wait for it to come. So I try and be conservative. Otherwise, I don't have another bad thing to say. And that's not really a bad thing. That's just me nitpicking a little bit. It is rock solid. The magnet is rock solid. The motor is rock solid. For in the neighborhood of $600, that puts this in the budget, really. Budget category. Sure, you can get some super imported ones. They're out there. They're 200, 300, 400 bucks. I have not used those. I don't know if they're as good as this. Honestly, we could do one just for fun if you want to. If you liked the video, and you got some value from it, if it helped you out in any way, hit thumbs up. It helps out the channel. It helps me make more videos. We're gonna do the Ryobi track saw next. It's sitting directly behind you, staring at me. It's been sitting there for over a month. And then I think we should probably do another table saw. What do you guys think? We got the Cobalt. That is probably a direct competitor to the Skill. We've got the Metabo I've been talking about for freaking ever. So let's do a table saw. You guys tell me. Also, Flex has two new table saws. I spoke with Flex, and hopefully we'll be getting one or maybe two of those to check out soon here in the springtime. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.